In this video, we are going to talk about our 2024 Major League Baseball season predictions and see which one of us came out on top. What is going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me on my channel, Brutus on Baseball. I've got my daughter, Jasmine, back with me. About 6 months ago, or maybe more by now, at the beginning of the Major League Baseball season, we both put our predictions out there for who we thought was going to win the Rookie of the Year, the Cy Young, the MVP awards, which teams were going to make the playoffs, and who was going to win the World Series. And we decided to have a little competition about it to see which one of us was going to do a better job of essentially guessing. That's really what it comes down to. Maybe a little bit of good research that goes into it, but at the end of the day, you never know who's going to have a good year, a bad year, a comeback season, an injury that keeps them out the whole season. You never know, right? So we're going to go through them one by one and see which one of us actually did a better job. You ready to do this?
Yep.
All right. Before we jump in, I was thinking all season about how to decide who wins, coming up with some sort of point scheme to see, who actually places better. But as I was going through the results, that was way too complicated because it was pretty simple actually to see which one of us comes out on top. Just by looking at the results, it becomes really obvious. So each of us put a top 5 player list for Rookie of the Year awards, MVP awards, Cy Young awards, and then there's the top 5 results as well, and we'll share all of those across the board. Who do you think did better, me or you?
You didn't put the Yankees in your thing.
I didn't put the Yankees in the playoffs. You remember that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of that, I think I might do better.
You think you're going to do better? All right. Well,
I think so.
We'll see what happens. Let's jump right into it, starting with the American League Rookie of the Year. So I had Wyatt Langford as my number 1. You had Evan Carter as your number 1, who had a pretty bad year and a lot of injuries this year. I had Evan Carter number 2, though, so not a whole lot different. Jackson Holliday didn't do that great. Cole Keith had a pretty good year, but overall, we just didn't do all that well with the American League Rookie of the Year. Wyatt Langford placed number 7. You can see the top 5 over there. Luis Heel, Colton Cowser, Austin Wells, Mason Miller, Kate Smith, none of which we guessed at the beginning of the season. And Rookie of the Year really is one of the hardest ones because you never know who's going to get called up, who's going to perform well, and who isn't. So I'm going to put down that I won this category simply because Wyatt Langford did place number 7. He didn't make the top 5, but he did get number 7, and I had him higher on my list than you did. So I'm going with that one. 1 point for Brutus. All right. Next category, National League Rookie of the Year. This one's a little bit more interesting. I had Jackson Chourio number 1. You had Jackson Chourio number 2. He had a pretty good year, but he did not win the Rookie of the Year. And somebody did that I didn't see coming in at the beginning of the year, at least at all, as being a real contender for the award, and that's Paul Skeens. Jackson Chourio did get number 3. Shota Imanaga came in number 4. You guessed him number 4, and he came in number 4 in the results. So this one's close, but who do you think won this one?
Me.
You think so?
Yeah.
Just because you got 2 guys in the top 10? Mm-hmm. I'm going to give that to you because I predicted number 1 was going to be Chourio. He did not get number 1. You predicted 2, which is closer to what he actually got, and Shota Imanaga at number 4, which is dead on. So let's give Jasmine 1 point for National League Rookie of the Year. There you go. A little bit of gloating. I like it. All right. Next one up, the American League Cy Young Award. And I got to tell you, Cy Young was a tough one again this year. A lot of injuries out there. I had Corbin Burnes number 1. He ended up getting 5th place. You had Corbin Burnes number 2. And he ended up getting 5th place. But your Justin Verlander, that was not a good one.
Yeah.
He had a rough season. Shane Bieber ended up being injured and losing the entire season after week 2. Blake Snell, you had him in the American League, and I think back then you thought he was going to sign with the Yankees because he was still unsigned.
Yes.
And Garrett Cole had gotten injured. So you kind of threw a guess out there that maybe Blake Snell, but he ended up signing with the Giants, which is a National League team, not going to place. I didn't do all that great either, but I did get Corbin Burnes and Framber Valdez, who placed number 7 in my top 5 list. So I'm giving this one to me. That's Brutus 2.
I can accept that.
Jasmine 1. You going to accept that? I like it.
I can accept that.
Okay. And by the way, who did win? I didn't really see any of this stuff coming.
I didn't either.
Yeah, Tarek Skubal, great pitcher, but man, he really came out and dealt this year. Not out of nowhere, but surprising. A little bit surprising.
Yeah, the first time I saw him play, I was like, he's going to win it.
And then Seth Lugo, again, not a guy I expected to be on the top of this list at all this year. Class A was a great reliever. Cole Reagan's a lot of good words about him, but not somebody I expected in the top 5 either. So, National League Cy Young Award. This one is really just a toss-up, isn't it? Both of us predicted Zach Wheeler with our number 3 slot, and he got number 2. So that was a good prediction. But the rest of our list, not that great. Zach Gallen, I don't know, maybe a slightly above average year, but not a Cy Young type year. Spencer Strider missed the entire season with Tommy John surgery. Max Fried, maybe he had a little bit better of a season than Zach Gallen. Justin Steele, not that great of a season. You did have Zach Gallen there. I don't know. We just didn't do all that well with our Cy Young Award in the National League.
I think I see on the list of top 5, Shota Emenaga.
Yeah.
Is on the list. And since I got him before,
I don't know about that.
I should take this point.
I don't know because you predicted him for the Rookie of the Year, not the Cy Young Award.
But I did put him as a award winner, and you did not.
Well, I don't know about that. You're asking for a little bit much here. But I don't know how else to separate us. Chris Sale, phenomenal pitcher, comeback player of the year. Paul Skeens, again, a guy that I didn't even see really coming out for Rookie of the Year. Dylan Cease, I like him. I almost actually put him in my top 5, but I didn't. That doesn't help me at all. All right, maybe I'll give that to you just because you had Shota in there. Fine. I'll give that one to her. And you're going to see coming up, it doesn't really matter that much. But going into this, it's 2-2. Okay.
Are you?
The American League. Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah. It wasn't even that close by the end. Okay, we'll see. American League MVP awards. Look at that. My number 1, Juan Soto, he placed number 3. But Jasmine did a little bit better. Juan Soto, she guessed 3, he got 3rd. And Aaron Judge was the American League MVP, and she picked him for number 4, whereas I did not have him anywhere on my list. J-Rod, Adley, decent seasons, a little bit of a letdown for me. Luis Robert Jr., not even close to a good season. He was horrible this year. And Corey Seager, again, a good season, but not an MVP top 10 season. So I'm going to give this one to you. In the top 5 that actually ended up being up there, Aaron Judge, number 1. Juan Soto, we know, was number 3. We both guessed him. But we missed out Bobby Witt Jr. At number 2, had a phenomenal season. I thought he was going to have a good season, but I didn't have him in my top 5 for the MVP. And then Gunnar Henderson came on strong in his year number 2. And Jose Ramirez, I should have known. He's always a perennial top 5 MVP finisher, usually places like 4th or 5th. And once again, he did this year. So neither one of us did great, but Jasmine definitely did slightly better, putting her up 3-2 over Brutus. Let's check out the National League MVP award. And this is where things really get separated. Jasmine, Shohei, number 1. He won it. Shohei got the MVP award. Great prediction. I should have seen it coming. It should have been obvious. What do you think about that one?
Why do I not see him on your list?
He wasn't on my list. I know.
Big mistake.
I thought he's not pitching this year. He's injured. He can only hit. Maybe he's going to have a down year. Maybe guys won't vote for him because he's not pitching. He didn't have that dual, threat. But then he came out and, what's that? 50-50.
Oh, yeah.
Then he came out and hit 50-50. Yeah. So great prediction for you. And on top of that, Bryce Harper got 6th. Mookie Betts got 13th. 2 more guys on your top 5 that made kind of the top 20 at least for MVP awards. And that's better than I can say. What I can say, though, is I predicted Freddie Freeman, who did win the MVP award. I just predicted the wrong MVP. It was the World Series MVP. Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking of when I did this, right? Riley, Tatis, good years, but not great. Carroll, pretty poor year, but I did get Mookie just like you did. But again, you put Mookie higher than I did. So I'm going to have to give this one to Jasmine, obviously. Results: Shohei number 1, Lindor, Marte number 2, 3, Osuna, Contreras. Kind of surprises there for 4 and 5. Not your usual names that you'd see, but again, Jasmine gets the point here. That puts her up 4-2 over yours truly. And coming down to it, the teams that we predicted, it just gets worse from here. First of all, I predicted the Orioles and the Guardians would win their divisions. Orioles made the playoffs, didn't win their division. Guardians did win their division, so I got that one right. That's all that I got right in the American League. And then in the National League, I predicted the Braves would win their division. I was flip-flopped with the Phillies, but at least they both made it. And then the Dodgers did win their division. Jasmine, on the other hand, predicted the Orioles would win their division. They didn't, but the Yankees, she still got in there in the playoffs, and they did make it. So Orioles, Astros, and Yankees for Jasmine. Other side, she successfully predicted that the Phillies would get in, the Dodgers would get in, both by winning their divisions. How'd you do that? How did you know that the Phillies would beat the Braves? Because nobody really predicted it this year.
If I'm going to be honest, for this one I was really unsure, so I just went and I picked my favorite teams and I prayed to dear God that they would win.
Okay. Well, that's a good strategy. It worked for you. Mm-hmm. So you had 3 in each league, whereas I only had 5 total. You had 6 total, including the Padres. So, again, we're going to have to give that one to Jasmine. I think she's up 5-2 now. Yeah, she's gloating.
Yeah.
I can already see that she's gloating.
Yeah.
And we haven't even touched the World Series. So, for me, that was the Orioles against the Phillies, with the Phillies winning. That was my prediction. Jasmine predicted the Dodgers over the Rangers. Rangers didn't make it, but she successfully predicted the World Series winner at the beginning of the season. Probably not that much of going out on a limb to pick the Dodgers, but she went with her gut and most of the majority of the fan base out there and picked the Dodgers, and she got it right. What do you think? You beat me 8-2.
I don't get it right sometimes.
No, you got it right only sometimes. Yeah, look at that. You only got it right half the time for the playoff teams.
And why do I see less teams underlined on yours?
We're not talking about my
mine?
side. We're just talking about your side. That's it.
Oh, I see. But
Okay.
I still got some right, and it was more than you did.
It was more than me. Mm-hmm. I have to admit that. It was more than me. And you predict the winner of the World Series. So what do you think? What are you going to do with your winning the 2024 season predictions?
I'm going to rub it in your face.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell everybody I know to watch this video so they can watch me glow. It's a good strategy.
It's a good strategy. There you go. 2024 Major League Baseball predictions. Jasmine blew me out of the water. I don't remember what the score was. And you can see now why I didn't really devise some complex strategy for calculating who did better. It didn't matter. Jasmine just did better across the board, except for 1 or 2 categories, but
only 2.
Only 2. But that doesn't really give me much to go off of.
The 3, because that one tied, and I finally persuaded you.
Can I have that point back?
No.
What?
It's mine.
Oh, come on. All right. So that is officially the end of our 2024 season, now that we've been able to compare our predictions. And we're going to get into the Hall of Fame and big free agent offseason coming up. So be sure to come back next time, check out more videos. And in the meantime, keep talking baseball, take care of yourselves, and we will see you around.
I just want to add something.
Okay.
Go. I will hold this over your head for the next 5 years at least.
I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm.